Hello everyone, welcome to this video on micro interactions in Figma from Simplilearn. Whether you are a designer with some experience or just starting in the world of UI UX, understanding interactions is key to making your designs more user-friendly. So imagine you are using an app and you tap on a button to submit a form, or you scroll down a page to see more content. So these are examples of interactions. Basically the ways users engage with the element on a website or app. So they are super important because they guide the user smoothly from one step to another. Now let's talk about micro interactions. Now these are small details that happen when users interact with your design. For example, have you ever noticed when you like a post on social media and the heart icon gives a little bounce? Or when you drag a file to the trash bin, it gives a quick animation of the trash closing? These are micro interactions. They may seem tiny, but they help improve the overall user experience by providing feedback, making your design feel alive and responsive. And in Figma, you can easily create these small but powerful moments using its prototyping and animation tools. And in this video, we'll be covering some cool examples, including a subscribe button that responds when clicked, a toggle switch that smoothly switches between on and off states, and a Figma accordion that expands and collapses with a simple click, and a page bottom bar navigation that animates when switching tabs, and also a sidebar menu that slides in and out for easy navigation. And by the end of this video, you'll know how to create all these micro interactions in Figma and bring your designs to life. So let's dive right in.
So let's start with the subscribe button. So basically I want the subscribe button to be plain in color, and once I press the subscribe button, I want it to zoom in a bit with red color filled. So here I already have my main frame ready where we'll be trying it out. So we will be placing our subscribe button over here basically. So let's just start creating it. So let's draw a rectangle first. You can press R on your keyboard. So first let me just check that if the size is fine. I think I have to, yep, I think this is perfect. Right. Let's just zoom in a bit. Now let's just round off these edges, corner these edges. So just corner the radius. Yes, that's perfect. And let's just write the subscribe text inside the shape. So initially I want this to be white in color. Yes. Let's just increase the font size a bit. Yes, 15 is fine. Now what we have to do is we have to frame this selection. So select this shape, press Shift key, select the text, go to the bottom toolbar and frame selection. So this is your first frame. Now let's just rename the frame as empty because we won't be having color in it. So basically we need more than one state for animation. So let's create 2 more copies of this. Yes. Now let's just rename these frames as transition and let's just rename it as red filled because finally I want my button to be red after subscribed. And here let's just change this text to subscribed. Yeah. So now we have to create a component set of these. So for that, select all and go to the button toolbar to create a component set like this. Select everything, go to the toolbar and create a component set. Let's rename the components set as subscribe button. Yeah. Next step is to fill the color inside each of the buttons. So even though we need the button to be, plain before the click, it is important to fill the components with the same color, like all the components with the same color for transition. But then you can adjust the opacity of the color. So I'll just show you so that you get an idea. So basically, after subscribe, I want it to be red, right? Like the button's color. So let's just select this button. Yeah. Let's give this red color. So we have kept it as FF0000. I think we'll put the text color, we'll keep the text color as black itself. Just a second. Fill. Let's just keep it black for now. We'll give this a stroke and let the opacity be 0%. Yes. Now here, this is the transition state. So let's the opacity be, let the color be the same, FF0000, but let the opacity be 75%. Yes. And this is the subscribe button where we need the opacity to be 100%. It's just, yes. Cool. Now the thing is, I want the subscribe button to grow a bit and shrink slightly during the transition. It's kind of a pop-up. So I will make the transition state frame a bit bigger. So this is the transition state frame. So I will just make it, a bit bigger. This, just slightly. I also align the text. Because I need just a small pop-up during the transition. So now this is all done. Now it's time to add the animations. So for that, we have to go to the prototype on your right side. And now let's add the flows between the suggested plus signs. So let's edit the first flow. So here we want on click because we'll be clicking the subscribe button, and on click it will change to the transition state. We need smart animation. Now there are so many options here. So select smart animate. We need ease in and ease out of around, I think 200 milliseconds is enough. Yes. Now let's draw the second flow. Now the second flow, we don't want it on click because, we'll click the subscribe button only once. So I just want it to be dark red after a delay. So let's just give after delay. The least we can give is 1 millisecond. So I think that would be fine. And we need to change it to red filled. We'll give the same smart animate, ease in and ease out. And here we'll, just reduce to around 100 millisecond. Yes. So now let's just copy. So now this is a component. So now let's just copy the first frame and paste it in the main frame. Copy this and paste it over here. Yes. See here, as you can see, the subscribe button, we have just blacked it out. So let me just, change the color of the text. Now here it's reflecting as white. So now let's just play and see the outcome. Yes. So as you can see, the subscribe button, which had no color, as I clicked, it gave a subtle pop and went to red button as I had imagined. So this is pretty cool. So this is how, you design a subscribe button or a like button, for example, or a save button, etc. So now let's move on to create a toggle switch. So basically, I want to create the toggle switch for this particular alarm. So as you can see, my main frame is ready and we'll be adding the toggle switch over here. So let's do it. So first let's create a rectangle as before and just check if the size is fine. Yes, it's perfect. Let's just zoom in a bit. Let's curve the edges. Yes. Now let me draw a circle inside. For the circle, the shortcut on your keyboard is the letter O. Yeah. So now you have to do a frame selection for these two elements. So select the element, hold shift key, select the other element and do frame selection. So this is basically your on state. So I will rename this frame as on state. So in the on state, I want the background to be yellow in color. Give yellow. And I want my button to be black in color. Yes. So as I told you, for adding transitions or animations, we need more than one state. So let's just duplicate this frame. Yes. Let's just rename this as off state. Yeah. Now in the off state, my button would be here. I think the placement is fine. Yeah. I want the background to be light gray because that's usually the color for an off state. Give the button a dark gray shade. No. Yeah, I think this is fine. Now let's create a component set of these two frames. You just have to select Just a second. Yeah, you just have to select everything and create a component set. We'll rename the component set as toggle switch. Now let's add flows by going to prototype, like how we did earlier for the subscribe button. So when I press this button, I want it to go to the off state. Again, this is on click. We have to change to the off state. It's smart animate. We don't want it ease in and ease out. We actually, there are more options. I think custom spring. So like, it actually, I want it to, be in a spring action. So I'll just give custom spring. So if you give custom spring, this is how the animation would look like. So now let's just give the same flow backwards with the same settings. Yes. Done. So once it's done, let's copy the first frame and let's paste it in the main frame. So this is our first frame. We have pasted it in the main frame. Just a second. So as you can see, it works and it gives a smooth transition for toggling switch. So now let's create an FAQ accordion. So this is basically the FAQ model seen on Google. So where we'll press the question and the answer comes in a drop-down menu. So let's create that one. So first let's create a rectangle and then let's, write a question inside the box. What is UI UX design? The text is not visible, so let's just first change the text color. Just increase the size to 20, or I think 25 would be fine. Let's just align it. Yes. So now let's do frame selection for these two objects, like for the rectangle and the text. So as you might have seen, the basic steps remain the same for creating micro interactions. So let's just do frame selection and rename the frame as question. Now let's create the answer part. Just a second. Let me just, that is fine. Now create another rectangle. Make sure it's of the same size. Now let's just copy paste expression. Okay. Bring to front. Yeah. Now we have to provide the answer. So basically I have just, I have the answer over here. So let's just drag it. And adjust it. Let's just frame select these two. This question, this frame, let's rename it as answer. Now let's create a component set of these two by selecting everything. Let's rename the component as FAQ. Now let's add the animation. Go to prototype. It will be given smart animate with easy in and out. Same backwards. Yes. Now we'll select this particular frame. Copy it to the main frame. Let me just adjust the frame size. Now let's just play and see how our FAQ section looks like. This is pretty cool. So this basically looks how an FAQ section looks like Google search page, isn't it? See how easily we made this transition. So now next, let's see how to create the sidebar menu that we usually see in apps. So I'll first show how I want it to be so that you will get an idea. So yeah, basically I want my animation to look somewhat like this. So first we'll be having the main page, and when I click a button, I just wanted to zoom in a bit, and the next page should appear. So let's see how this is created. So here I've already selected 2 frames. So first we have to create a frame. So let me just check out the resolution of these screenshots. Okay, it's 461.29. This height is 998.85. Yes. So we have created a frame of equal size, and now we have to layer the two images one by one inside the first frame. So make sure that the sequence of the frame that you layer is correct. So the thing is, basically I want this as my first frame. Like while I'm using the app, I want this as my first frame, and I want this to zoom in a bit while I click a certain button. So the second page that I want, we kept here. The first page that I want will be layered above it. Yes. So let me just, rename this frame as closed. Let me just duplicate this frame. Yes. Now in the second frame is named as open. So in this state, I want this particular image to look small. Just a second. Yes. To be somewhat like this. Now this is not a perfect example. I just want you to know how such an animation can be done. That's all. Yep. So now I have to create buttons. So like for time being, we'll just create some shapes. So I will just give a small square as my first icon. And here I would like to represent my close button as a small circle, for example. Let's keep that black in color. Yeah. Let's just zoom in a bit. Now we have to edit or, make animations for these particular shapes. So let's just do that. Again, create a component set of these two. Now let's just prototype it. Same, we need on-click, smart animation, ease in and ease out. Same goes for the other way around. Yes. Now I'll be placing this button over here. Maybe over here. Let's just consider this, as the menu button or whatever. And let's just take this circle and place it in this particular page where you'll be using this as a close button. Let's just place it over here. Now let's just prototype these two. Now let's just see the result. This is amazing. So this kind of looks like a complicated animation, but see how easy it was to create. So, you can experiment more on this. This is just a basic example. You can experiment more on this. Now, finally, let's create the page bottom bar navigation. So basically the, bottom bar that you find on apps. So I'll just show you the result first itself so that, you'll get an idea of what I'm going to create. So here we have the home, the profile, the search, and the settings. So basically when I, press profile, I want such an animation. When I press search, I want such an animation. When I press home, I want such an animation. So this is what we are going to create now. Yes, so here I have already got my icons ready. I hope it's visible to you. So first let's create a frame. And now let's draw 4 rectangles and curve them. And then we have to place them in equal spacing. Yes. Let's just do it quickly. Yes. So as you saw in the example, first I have the home button. Let me just copy it here. Let me just paste it here. Just a second. There is some issue. Yes. This is my home. I can just bring it here like this. This is my search. This is my settings. Now I'll just duplicate these frame 4 times. Let me just bring it down. It's going and getting pasted over here. So let's just align them linearly so that it's easy to edit. One more. So right now we have 4 frames. Let's zoom in a bit. So as you saw initially, I want my home to be red in color and the text too. And I want to place this over here. Okay. Now let me write the text over here. And I want this to be red in color. The color was FF0000%. So as we have discussed during the subscribe button also, so while coming to the next one, I actually don't want a color, but I have to give the same color for the next frame also, but you just have to adjust the opacity. So I'll just give you an example. For example, while I'm in the home page, I want this button to be red in color and I want it to be written as home, right? Now this is basically for our profile page. So here what I'll do is, here also for the button I'll just give the same color, but the opacity will be 0%. Okay, but so as you can see, it's still there, but the opacity is 0%. Likewise here, I want it to be profile. Just change this first. Yeah. Profile. Here we gave green color. So here we'll give, but here also we'll give the same color. In the rest of the frames also we'll be giving the same green color. What was this color? Just a second, 3900. Yeah. So you have to give the exact color, but the opacity will be 0%. So you have to do likewise in everything. So I will just quickly do it because it will take a lot of time. So I'll just quickly do it and come back to you. So once that's done, we can now give the animations. So let's go to prototype. So when I want the profile section, it must go to this. It's smart animate, ease in and ease out. From here also we'll go to the second frame. So all the profiles while clicked should go to the second frame. Now all the home, for example, while clicked should go to the first frame. So follow this pattern and draw flows for each of the icons. I hope you understood. Like for example, the search button, like whichever search button they press, they have to go to the third frame. So you can draw the flow from each of the frames to the third frame. Settings will go to the fourth frame. So basically while hovering, we want these shapes to expand. So what you can do is, like the home will come from the left. So we can actually go to design. Yeah. So we can actually, move the shape toward the left. Because the home while playing will, this particular circle will come from the left side. So we are giving it to the left. Similarly the rest, for example, this settings will come from the right, so you can give it to the right side. So basically what you have to do is you have to align all these shapes. Like for example, the shapes enclosed by the home icon, you have to shift it towards the left, and the shapes enclosed by the rest of the icons, you have to shift it towards the right. So now let's see the result. Yes, this is pretty cool. As you saw, the home is coming from the left, settings is going to the right. So this is why we adjusted the shapes at the end. So yeah, you have seen some cool instances where micro animations are used. Now, before we wind up, I have a quick question for you guys. What is the primary purpose of using micro interactions in Figma when designing user interfaces? Option A, you have to add complex animations for visual appeal. Option B, to guide users through tasks by providing feedback. Option C, to enhance the layout structure of the design. And option D, to reduce the number of screens in a design. So you can give your answers in the comment section and we'll be checking your answers and addressing any queries. So I hope you liked our tutorial. I hope you got a basic idea of how to create micro interactions. So it's pretty simple. It might look complicated, but then of course you just have to spend a bit of time and do it properly, and then it's pretty simple. So hope you like this tutorial, and if you found this helpful, please do like and share it with your fellow mates, and see you in the next video.
Hi there, if you like this video, subscribe to the Simplilearn YouTube channel and click here to watch similar videos. To nerd up and get certified, click here.